Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Deku became a sugar baby to pay for college part 1. If you guys enjoy this what if and want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with your friends and check out the description in my playlist. The author of the story 𝗵𝘃𝗧𝗏 Izuku from Wattpad. So let's start the video. I finished packing the rest of my belongings into suitcases and duffel bags before bringing them all into the living room. My mother stood by the door, smiling at me. 64, I can't believe my baby's going off to college. Tears pricked the corners of her eyes and she hugged me. I hugged her back tightly and chuckled slightly. The college is not that far from home. I'll also be coming to visit on school holidays. 6. I know that 𝗵𝘃𝗫𝗁 just going to be so different without you here. I smiled at my mother and grabbed my duffel bags, slinging the straps around my shoulders. We need to get going before I miss orientation. 17. She nodded and helped with my suitcases as we set them in the trunk of the car. The college wasn't that far away from my house, maybe about 30 miles away. Easily I could call a cab or even have my mom come to pick me up at the dormitory. 46. As we drove out of the driveway, I looked at the house and thought about all the memories that were held in that house, smiling and resting my chin on my hand. As we got closer, I started to feel nervous and thought about who my roommate would be. I also thought about how I was going to pay for my college tuition and such. 61. I remembered looking at the website and the stores that were by it, but I don't think working at a fast food place would be for me. 9. I made a face and I hadn't realized that my mother was looking at me. 1. What's wrong, Izuku? 1. Nothing, just thinking about how I'm going to earn money. 48. Oh, well, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of job opportunities by the college. 12. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Too soon we finally made it to the front of the college. Some kids drove themselves and others had their parents. I got out of the car to grab my belongings, and that's when my mother started crying again. 11. I'm going to be fine, please stop crying. 3. I hugged her once more with one arm since the other was holding my bags. Just don't forget to come and visit, okay? 1. All right. That's when I started to walk off. Once I made it to the top of the stairs, I turned around once more and gave her a smile before walking through the double doors. 11. Walking through the hallway, it was huge, with lots of walking space. There were a couple of more levels to this college, dorms being on the top and classes remaining on the bottom. Some classes were even off campus, but luckily I didn't have to go off campus. Making my way down the hall, I accidentally bumped into someone, my bag bumping into them. 40. Sorry. I didn't mean to. I looked at the boy. He had bicolored hair. Looking at his eyes, they were strange, but a good kind of strange. 134. It's all right. So are you going to college here? 23. What kind of question was that? I'm so stupid, of course he's going to college here. Yes, I'm taking language arts. 9. My eyes widened and I swear I squealed a little. You're taking those classes too. Maybe we might have some classes together. Yeah. He chuckled slightly and kept looking down at the floor. 54. Sorry, Izuku Midoriya. I dropped my duffel bag and held out my hand to the boy. He took my hand in his and shook it slightly. Shoto Todoroki pleasure. 147. I should really get going so I can unpack everything. Catch you later, Todoroki. 5. I grabbed my bag and headed up the stairs. I remembered printing out a paper that had my schedule and such on it. I turned my backpack around so I could search for it. Room 373, floor 3 and room 73. I mumbled to myself before putting my backpack the way I had it and climbed the stairs until I reached the 3rd floor. 28. Of course, the dorms were separated by gender. One level was for boys and the other for girls. We were in the same building, but boys and girls had a specific time they had to be back in each other's dorms. 52. Making my way up the flight of stairs, I finally made it to the 3rd floor. I was a panting mess from walking up so many stairs. I would have died. OMG, I'm so sorry, Izuku face with tears of joy. 434. I better not have to do that every time. I groaned to myself and reached for my room key that had come into the mail. I walked up to the door and reached for the key. Before I could even bring it to the lock, the door flung open. I jumped back and fell on my butt. Sorry about that. I rubbed my arm and the boy held out a hand for me. I took his hand in mine and he helped me up. That's okay. He snickered and I looked up at him. The boy had blonde hair that had a black lightning bolt mark. 96, did he dye it that way? I thought to myself, curiously. 7, he wore ripped jeans with a plain black shirt. 6, so I'm guessing we're roommates. 45, I nodded and I could see the boy get excited. Well, the name's Kaminari, Kaminari Denki. He gave me a wink and my cheeks heated up. I rubbed the back of my neck and kept my head down. 135, 𝗧𝗵𝗲, I said, still looking down embarrassed. Well, Izuku, it's nice to meet you, Kaminari said, laughing. I chose the bed on the left, you can have the right. I have to get going, I'll see you later. 5, then he left. I grabbed my belongings and I was left to set up my side of the room. Plus, dragging my bags into the room was quite a hassle. I had most of my belongings in them and I didn't dare want to forget anything. 5, the first thing I did was take my charger out of my backpack and plugged it into the wall with my phone at the end of it. There wasn't much on Kaminari's side of the room. Just a laptop that rested on the desk, a pair of headphones, a pack of Sunny D, and what looked to be an expensive watch. 62, even I couldn't afford such a thing. How the hell could he afford an expensive all-gold watch that inside seemed to be studded with diamonds nonetheless? 187, I shook my head and put my clothes into my dresser and brushed it off. About an hour later, and the only thing I could think about was the watch he had. Could it be that his family was rich? He also had an expensive-looking laptop too, one that had just come out. I was stuck with a plain one that I had for about 4 years. 24, I wonder if he had a good-paying job. 34, it wasn't long till the doorknob twisted and soon Kaminari walked through with a bag that seemed to be filled with clothes. Did you go shopping? I asked, folding one last shirt before closing my dresser drawer. You could say that. He laughed and dropped the bag on the floor and plopping onto the bed. 26, either I'm hallucinating or he just really dropped a Gucci bag on the floor. 71, so what classes are you taking? I didn't notice that he had asked a question. Snapping out of it, I stuttered out and I could feel my face heat up. Oh, I'm wanting to major in language arts. I'm sticking to just regular classes, nothing in particular. Just wanting to experience college life, you know. Like parties and girls. 11, as he took a drink of his Sunny D, I could tell he choked and began coughing. 37, was it something I said? I don't know the proper way to say this, but I'm gay. He laughed and I became red. 62, oh, I'm sorry, nah man, don't be. It was bound to happen sooner or later. I nodded and we sat in uncomfortable silence. Don't worry, it's not like I'm going to hit on you or anything. I already have someone. 87, Kaminari made air quotes around the word someone. I tilted my head, confused about why he did so. 2, was he in a complicated relationship? This whole situation had gotten so weird ever since I saw the things he has received, such as the laptop, watch, and now walking in the room with a Gucci bag filled with expensive clothing. I'll talk about that later, but would you mind going out with me? I know I just got back, but I think it would be fun if we went around and looked at places. 3, I think that would be nice. I smiled at him. 1, I'll be waiting at the end of the hall, don't leave me waiting for too long. Kaminari laughed and joked around with me. We grew fond of each other quickly even though we had just basically met, but it felt nice. 16, after I changed from my basketball shorts and a plain tee, I decided to wear pants and another plain shirt. I didn't want to get all dressed up since we weren't going anywhere fancy. 10, I walked out the dorm door and at the end of the hall, I saw Kaminari talking to Todoroki. Soon both their eyes were on me and I smiled at them. I just met Shoto earlier ago. I didn't expect to see him again. Hey, Izuku, is it okay if Shoto tags along with us? 6, I don't see why not. 1, I smiled at Todoroki and he gave a small one in return. I didn't talk to Todoroki that long since I had so many bags in my hands and deliberately hit him with one of them. 37, so where are we going? 1, I was thinking that we go shopping. Midoriya, you need some new clothes. 13, you don't have T-. Before I could finish, Kaminari pulled out a credit card. Don't worry, I have my daddy's credit card. 446. Well, that was nice of him to let you borrow it while you are in college. 35. I was surprised by this, but all he did was smirk, and I could tell a small blush painted across Todoroki's cheeks. 227. Strange 53. Yeah, it is nice of him. Kaminari just slid the credit card back into his brief pocket. Like I've been doing, I brushed it off. I hope all this weird stuff stops. It's making me feel uncomfortable. I kept behind the two boys and stayed a distance. The college was kinda big. There were restaurants nearby and we kept following a sidewalk that leads us to a mall. Maybe I could find a job in the mall. It wouldn't be that bad, would it? Be a cashier, better than working at a fast food place. 32. It was time to grow up. Once I get my classes in order and settled down, that would be the next step, but I still thought about how I'm going to pay for books and such. The supplies I need are very expensive, especially the books. Sooner or later I'm going to have to buy a new laptop. 9. Izuku. Kaminari screamed out my name and I jolted my head up, blushing. Dude, you need to chill. If you need help paying for some stuff, don't be shy to ask. College can be an expensive, man. 29. As much as I would like to consider IT, I just don't think I could. Or you could result in other options. 12. I furrowed my eyebrows and Todoroki has a look on his face that was telling him to stay quiet. 2. If you're talking about me becoming I'm fine. 282. Kaminari just busted out laughing, spitting some in the process. 13. Don't pay attention to him right now. I laughed as Todoroki rolled his eyes at Kaminari. If only I knew what went through that boy's head. I sat in a dimly lighted restaurant with a girl I just met on Sugar, the app that I use to find sugar babies. I could tell she was trying to impress me, but the thing was she wasn't my type. 83. She wasn't shy or kept a blush on her cheeks. Instead, she was the complete opposite. I smirked when I felt her foot rub against my leg. 13. So, she swished her red wine around in her glass before taking a sip, leaving a red lipstick stain. Are you enjoying yourself? She kept rubbing my leg with her high heel, trying to stuck me. 76. Listen. I laughed, fixing my tux's cuffs and rested my elbows on the table, clasping my hands together. If you're just going to keep being a tryhard, hate to break it to you, kitten, but that's not a turn on. 87. Her face was priceless after I said that to her. I'm surprised she hadn't splashed her wine all over me. 1. I am not a tryhard. 8. I laughed at her and it only made her angrier. Then that's when she grabbed her purse and stormed out of the restaurant. I waved towards the waiter, telling him to bring the check before gulping down the rest of my wine. 30. Once I made it back to my condo, I simply plopped myself onto my black velvet couch. It was quiet and I was used to this, but sometimes it did get a little lonely. 17. I went to the fridge to grab a beer and went back to my regular spot on the couch. 3. Not like I had much to drink anyways. I took a swig and decided to turn on the TV, cutting away the silence in the place. Why can't I just find a simple BBY that doesn't act like a tryhard? 58. I groaned to myself, undoing my tie and throwing it onto the floor. 1. Just because I work as a high-class businessman doesn't mean for all these girls to be so. I took one last long drink, consuming all the alcohol until there was simply none left. Annoying. 40. My phone buzzed in my tuxedo's brief pocket, and when I grabbed it I looked at the notification. It was from the stupid app telling me someone had DM'd me. 3. I mean, most of these girls, all they want is money, I get that, but goddamn, I'm not just going to throw my money out to them. I'm a very hard to please a man, and if you simply can't catch my attention right then and there, then don't waste my time. 19. I threw my phone to the side of me. It bounced as it hit the couch cushion from how soft it was. 9. All of this made me think about Kirishima and his BBY, Kaminari. The F even let him take his credit card. Not like he has any more, but still. I wouldn't let anyone take one of mine. God knows what these girls would do with it. 207. I just have one amount of money, and that's $3,000. If that BBY deserves and goes above average, then I double it to $6,000. 40. For the money I send them goes straight to their PayPal. Easier for me and the BBY. 64. I looked at my phone and decided to grab it and go onto the app. Then I browsed through the male sugar babies. None just seemed to grab my attention. 17. I guess I'll look in a couple of days. 5 after that, I did my regular nighttime routine, took a shower, and stuff like that. 13 laying down everything was quiet and still. I had this huge condo to myself and had no one to bring home with me. I hardly doubt I would have brought home that one chick. 7 I have had some sugar babies that were sweet and stuff that I brought back here, but soon things had to get cut off for personal reasons. 6 My whole life hadn't been this way. I had to build myself up to get to where I am now. Hard work pays off. Now I'm out looking for the perfect person to share it with. 43 I know sugar daddies aren't supposed to get attached or anything to their SRBBY, but I love spoiling, and since I have money, this is how I pull in new people into my life. 22 Diamond. Saying it that way makes it sound awkward. 21 I stayed like this for quite some time, thinking about a lot while laying in my bed. Just have to keep looking. Then it wasn't long till I fell asleep with no one beside me in my huge bed. It felt cold and quiet inside my condo. Zook, 1, Izu, 7, Azu. I groaned as I was being shaken back and forth in my bed. With my blurry vision, I somewhat made out features of who was calling out my name and soon came to my senses jolting up. Did you not hear your alarm? What time is it? For I asked Kaminari, rubbing my eyes trying to wake myself up. 1, well by the looks of it you should be in class within 15 minutes. 4, 50 I cut myself off and hopped right out of bed and went directly to my dresser, pulling out a simple white shirt and a pair of ripped denim jeans. 1, Izu chills out, you have time. 3 Kaminari laughed at me sitting back onto his bed. You don't have classes or what? Nah, I go this afternoon though. I saw him grab his phone from his nightstand and started texting on it. 1 I, on the other hand, was in a rush and became scared whether if I was going to be late or not. Kami, I'm sorry, but I'll talk to you later. I grabbed my laptop and earbuds, stuffing them in a small book bag, running out of the room. Are you forgetting something? I halted and turned to him. What? I was panicking and he threw a key towards me. I won't be here tonight, so if you want to get into the room I advise you to keep up with that key. 24 He laughed at me and I huffed, closing the door afterward. I wonder where he's going. 18 Izuku. A voice called to me from down the hall, and when I turned around I saw Shoto walking in my direction. Izuku, where are you heading? I pleaded in my mind that he too was going to language arts, so both of us could walk together. 2 language arts. And you? Same. Oh God, it's such a relief to know that I at least know someone who has that class at the same time as me. It was stressing me out some. 6. Well, we should get going unless you want to be late. Shoto already had started walking at a rapid pace to where I could hardly catch up to him. 5 All the classes were on the bottom of the building, meaning there was no elevator and that I did have to climb a flight of stairs each time. 15 Why don't they put in an elevator? Because that's way too much money and they would have to reconstruct the whole building. Shoto kept a low tone to his voice like he was almost sad. Or just in general, had no emotions for anything. 19 When we had finally walked down the stairs, some kids we found roaming the halls. Do you know where our class is? I looked at all the doors, each had the same design for a classroom. Should be at the end of this hall. Shoto and I soon stood in front of a wooden door, scared to open it and enter. With 1 step going forward, this would be a huge step for me. For you would think like in the movies when someone opens a door, a magical light would illuminate and a great sight would appear. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case at all. I didn't see a lot of students packed into the classroom. Instead, it ranged from 5 to maybe even 9. 6 Welcome. Take a seat. The literature arts teacher seemed very bubbly and enthusiastic about her job. The classroom had rectangular tables, so Todoroki and I sat together in the back away from the other kids. 3 My name is Mrs. March, 86. The teacher introduced herself and told us what textbook and supplies we needed. A laptop, which I already had, and an English textbook that we would be reading in and researching all the different poets and authors. As I was turning on my laptop so I could make a list of the supplies, that's when the whole thing crashed and started smoking. 83. Izuku, I think your laptop is smoking. 88 CRP. What am I going to do now? Laptops are so expensive these days, and to top it off I have to get that textbook. 21 I put my head on the table, thinking about how I could solve my issues. If you need any help with financials I can dash. 1. I'm just going to stop you right there, Shoto. I don't want to take your money. I'll just have to figure all this out by myself. 51. When the bell rang I grabbed my laptop and threw it in a bin that was in the hall. I knew it was an old laptop and it has stuck with me forever, but I guess it was bound to happen sooner or later. 49. As I zipped up my backpack once again Shoto tapped my shoulder and gave me a small smile. It'll all be okay, Izuku. Things will get better. How about I take you out for lunch? 20. After the smoking incident with my laptop, Mrs. March made a worried face to me but began talking about herself and how she became a teacher. 18. Orientation for us newbies before we start actual classes. My only class I was taking for now was language arts. Sooner or later I would change that and focus on journalism and work my way up that pathway. Yeah, that would be nice. 2. I smiled at the boy before me and we both walked out of campus and into the cloudy cool weather. How about Coffee Bean? 19. I've never been there. I looked down embarrassed. I knew the coffee shop was for people who went there to study in the mornings and the pastries were sold at top dollar, along with their sandwiches. 2. Well, since it's on me, get anything you like. 11. Shoto rearranged his shoulder bag. It looked like he was rummaging for his wallet so he could have it handy for when they asked for the money. 13. 5. Walking into the coffee shop, the little bell indicated that a new customer had arrived. The place smelled sweet and of course, the scent of coffee lingered everywhere. 8. You go take a seat and I'll go order us some sandwiches. What would you like? 2. Surprise me. I laughed at him and all he did was smile at me back. 12. For the past couple of days, I have learned that Shoto is a man of very few words. The boy left to go order us food and drinks. The whole place was like your typical coffee shop. 8. Soon the bell to the shop jingled and my eyes darted over to the doorway, looking to see who had walked in. For it was a man older than me. He wore a suit, had blonde somewhat spiked hair, and had a muscular body, but not too muscular. It all seemed to suit him in all the perfect places. 151. When he looked my way, that's when I saw his eyes, ruby red. Almost too dangerous if you looked at them for too long. The man seemed cold and lonely, but who was I to judge? 21. At the pickup station, rested an iced Americano. The man picked it up and started walking back to the door. 9. I never took my eyes off of him. He looked expensive like he owned a top-notch company. For I could have sworn he gave a small smirk like he knew I was looking. I was practically drooling over him nonetheless, but if I blinked I don't think I could have witnessed that deadly smirk. 27. Izuku. I came back to my senses and once again the bell to the coffee shop rang once more. When I looked back the man was gone. 3. You okay? Shoto handed me a small iced tea that seemed to have a lemon resting in it and a small sourdough bread sandwich. Thank. I smiled at him and took a sip from my tea. In reality, all I was thinking about was that man that came through the coffee shop. After Izuku had left I got a message from Daddy. I smiled when the notification popped up on my screen. 116 Kiri, how's about I treat my baby for breakfast? 16 Kami, sounds great, I'll get ready right now. 7 Kiri, great. See you in 10 doll. 84 I smiled and got up from my bed, walking to my dresser to rummage through all my clothes. I settled with black ripped jeans, a plain black shirt, and a simple choker. 31 Looking in my long mirror satisfied, that's when my phone dinged, indicating that Daddy had messaged me. 56 Tonight was a big night for him. A party was being thrown in his favor to celebrate his company. Soon he would be the owner of that company and work alongside the biggest and richest men in the world. 26 It was then he wanted me to come along beside him and be his plus one. I didn't mind, not at all. I quite liked having all eyes on me and I knew that was going to happen at the party. 13 I grabbed my phone and locked the dorm room with my key before heading down the stairs. 2 I had to keep an eye on the time since my classes will be starting at 12:30 sharp. For now, I will be taking regular classes. I take 2 each day. If I wanted to I could go to 3 one day and 1 the next and 𝚬𝚧𝚪𝚅 from there, but I wanted to keep it constant. I remember once I hit 18 I went on the Sugar app. I was curious and signed up. Soon enough I had gotten a DM from Kiri, and ever since he had been my 𝚬𝚪𝚅𝚪. 25 Usually, sugar daddies have multiple sugar babies, but Kiri only wanted one and settled with me. We have a nice and working relationship. 6. I wouldn't say we are the SXL type, but when we're in the mood that's when things start getting a little heated. 23. Kiri is like a sec god, what can I say? 274. As I made it outside, that's when I saw a silver sports car with tinted windows to where you can't see anything. For when I opened the door, that's when I saw him in all his glory. He gave me a toothy smile and I rolled my eyes playfully. 4. Keep acting like that and I'ma have to do something about it. 24. Oh yeah. I snickered and buckled myself up, and that's when we drove off. Where would you like to go, doll? Anywhere you're comfortable with is fine. We both looked at each other and I knew what he wanted. You want grapevine too, don't you? 8. You know me so well. Kiri laughed and sped up a little more, making the car rumble. Will you ever get tired of crepes? 9. Nope. Thought so. So how's school going? Well, I thought about Izuku and how he was coming along. I felt bad for him because he wasn't used to this type of lifestyle whatsoever, and I don't think I could ever bring him along. Hey, Kiri. Want ya? I know you asked me how school was going and everything, but I was wondering. I smirked at the thought. How could Izuku ever get involved with the 𝚬𝙪𝙢𝙢𝚢𝚢𝚢? With a little push, it could work. 26. I have this roommate of mine and he's really shy, but under all that, I think he would love this lifestyle. Do you think I should introduce it to him? Whoa, wow, doll, you just met this kid and I don't think pushing him into a lifestyle he knows nothing about is a little reckless, don't you think? Well, what's life without a little fun? I think he would love it. I mean, he looks like he could use the extra money. 51. Well, do what you think feels right, but it always goes south if you push someone a little too far out of their comfort zone. I thought about the topic and I thought it was a good idea. I just had to find the right purpose to tell him. Izuku's POV. 3. I walked with Shoto back to campus, lightly drinking my lemon tea. So what are you going to do about your laptop issue? I don't know, get a job and save up on money. I mean, it was an older laptop, it was bound to happen sooner or later. 14. Yeah, but look on the bright side. Shoto went to walk in front of me. You still have time to get a laptop, focus on that textbook, and if you need to you can always borrow mine. 6. Huh? Yeah, but I don't think you want highlighter marks all in your textbook. If it helps you then I don't mind at all. Besides, it also helps me. We both laughed and walked back into the school, climbing the stairs once more. Do you have any more classes? Shoto looked at me with a worried look. Even though his face stood still, I could still see it in his eyes. I thought it was cool how they were both different colors, but I wanted to learn about how he got the scar on his left side. 114. Maybe one day we can sit down and talk about it together. Shoto and I have become good friends and it has only been a couple of days. We just caught on very well with each other. And no, actually. What was that? I never stuttered before in front of him until now. It was really strange for me. Would you like to come back to my dorm for a bit? 100. Sure. Why not? It wasn't like I had anything else better to do. 1631. When we got to his dorm room, it was already unlocked for some reason. That was until I saw another boy sitting at a desk doing what seemed to be calculus. That's my roommate Ida. He's studying to be a college professor in the math department. 29. Who is this that you have brought into our room, Shoto? 48. The boy talked with a stern voice. He was like a dad to Shoto and I had to laugh. 16. My name's Izuku. It's nice to meet you. I gave the boy with glasses a smile. Pleasure to meet you, Izuku. Now if you two would try to keep it down, I have to get back to work. 4. But it's the first day. You already have homework. The teacher said to have it done by Wednesday. I'm just an overachiever. 39. I can see that. I laughed and Ida went back to doing his work. I went to set my backpack down on Shoto's side of the room in the corner. So what do you want to do? I asked, sitting on the floor. You know, you can sit on my bed with me if you would like. I guess you're right. 2. I sat on the side of the end of the bed with my legs crisscrossed, and he took the other side. 16. We didn't do much besides play on our phones, so we would interrupt Ida from his work. So, Shoto, tell me about yourself. What are you taking language arts for? 8. He looked up from his phone and up at me. I want to be a writer. Or try to be at least. My father isn't too fond of my pathway. He says that I won't make it. 20. Who's your father? 2. He's the vice principal at this college, but in reality, all he does is sit in his office all day. 29. Wait, since your father is the vice principal, wouldn't that mean you could get special treatment? Please don't call it that. I don't want to be treated like I'm higher than everyone. I want to be treated like everyone else and not be considered as a douchebag. Oh, that makes sense. I never thought about it that way. That's how you knew all that information when we talked about the elevator situation. Guys, tone it down a little. 2. Ida, why don't you just use a calculator? Because that's like cheating. 135. Don't get him started. Shoto winced at what Ida said. But solves an easy question instead of you having to work it out on the side of the paper. 1. Yes, but dash. Okay, if y'all are seriously going to debate on calculators, then please go somewhere else. 16. Shoto got a little flustered and angry. I sipped my lemon tea, Ida, and I looked at Shoto in astonishment. 14. Someone needs to take a chill pill. I laughed and Shoto shook his head, hiding a smile. Sorry about that. Ida once again went back to work, and within seconds I heard the sound of a binder Brad's closing. For finished? I asked, and all Ida did was fix his glasses and smiled. Yep, all 100 questions. 45. I nearly choked on my tea when he said the number of questions. For 100. Yep. It made me think about what kind of work I will be doing in language arts. I know it wasn't going to be 100 questions, but imagine the number of essays I will have to finish. Procrastination and stress will soon kick in. 30. I need to get that textbook. And I need to get it fast. I checked the cuffs on my suit, fixing my tie and any wrinkles that emerged. Tonight was a big celebration for our company. 8. Tonight was the night that old shitty hair would run the company and I would become next in line after him, making me his assistant. 65. We work together in a landscaping company. We give the runner-ups on designs and approve them or not. What makes us qualified with working with other companies would be checking their ideas. There's a lot of small details that have to be done. I still can't believe he has done it. I heard my phone vibrate on the marble bathroom counter. It was from the man himself. 1. Shitty hair. Make sure you're not late. Can't afford it. Katsuki. Yeah. I'll be there on time. Save a glass of hard scotch for me, would you, shitty hair? 9. Shitty hair. We are 31 years old, Katsu, and you still call me that stupid name. 155. Katsuki. You didn't answer my question, shitty hair. I'll save you a glass, but you better show up. 3. I clicked my phone off before putting it in my dress pants pocket. 3. Let's get this F over with. For I called an Uber recently, so I decided to walk outside my condo waiting for it. 10. My mind decided to wander and I thought about that freckled kid. I mean, I know I'm literally like 31, but I still have my looks. I'm not like these wrinkly F-airs. 85. He seemed innocent, and when I smirked at him, the way he blushed slightly gave it all away. I would love to spoil him and simply give him the world. 123. I will admit in my younger days I was a total hat, but ever since I have grown up all that changed for the better. That doesn't mean I'm going all soft and SHT. 38. When the Uber arrived I got in the black SUV and told them my destination. 8. As we drove I looked at the city. It was appealing at night because that's when all the lights shined and stood out. Maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself, thinking about that kid. I mean, I don't even know how old he was, but sure enough, he had to be at least 18. 36. I played with the Rolex watch that rested on my wrist. I've been searching for the right 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝚔, but still, I can't seem to find the right one. 40. Kaminari's POV. I threw all my clothes in every direction trying to find a good outfit for tonight. I had to look my best for my daddy. 49. Where are you even going? Out to a party. Izuku sat on his bed watching me find an outfit. I could tell he was being a curious kitten. 42. On a school night. Calm down, Izu. I'll be back before midnight. 2. I laughed at him and threw a suit jacket on my bed along with a simple white shirt. Oh, did I tell you in language arts my laptop started randomly smoking? 21. What the dash? Yeah, a smirk came across my lips and I thought that this was now the perfect time to talk about the subject. Hey Izu, can I see your phone real quick? Once he handed me his phone, I quickly grabbed my outfit for the night and ran into the bathroom, locking the door. 6 Kami. Give me my phone back. He started banging on the door at this point. I started laughing as I went to the app store and downloaded 𝗔𝗂𝘁𝗵𝚔. Once it was done, I filled out all the boxes before putting on my outfit. Once I opened the door, I handed his phone back to a shocked-looking Izuku. What did you do? He scrolled through his phone before his green eyes went wide. 31 Kami. And oh, I am not getting 𝚬𝚪𝙢𝚢𝚢𝚍𝚍𝚍𝚢. Are you insane? 26 I grabbed my key for the room, grabbed my phone, and opened the door. I turned to look back at Izuku, and it was like he was in a trance, looking at all the people on the app too. Aizu. Trust me, give it a try. It might even fix the financial problems that you're having. That laptop and textbook aren't going to buy themselves, you know. 17 Izuku's POV, and with that Kami was out the door. When I looked back down on my phone, the app was still open. I decided to go to my profile and fill in some of the blanks that asked about myself. Name. Izuku. I started with my name. Then the rest of the blanks seemed to go as planned, asking for my hair color, eye color, and height. Simple stuff like that. I set myself as a 𝗧𝗏𝗵𝗏, of course. When I looked at the bio, that's when I got lost. I didn't quite know what to say about myself. Bio. In college, 19 years, studying to be a journalist. 101, new to the lifestyle and not quite sure what I'm looking for. How awkward can I possibly get? That's the shortest bio ever. 42 I groaned, and soon a message popped up. From 𝚘𝚗𝚘𝚗𝚘𝚗𝚘𝚗𝚘𝚗𝚘𝚗𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘 immediately screamed. This was way out of my comfort zone. I had just realized that Kami already added a picture of me. 101. I don't even remember having that picture taken. That's the scary part. 134. I scrolled around the app, putting more information as I thought of it. Looking through all the sugar babies and daddies made me feel somewhat out of place. I felt like this wasn't the lifestyle for me at all. In their pictures they all looked rich and owned a lot of money. Some barely even had anything on their profiles. Soon I was racking in the messages and one 𝗧𝗪𝗔𝗧 after the other were on my DMs. Some seemed legit telling me how much money they would be giving me annually if I was interested and stuff like that. I also looked at their ages. Some were 60 years old and maybe even older at that. 117. What am I getting myself into? I thought about what Kami said. Just give it a try. That laptop and textbook aren't going to buy themselves. 2. He was right. Soon the more scrolling I did, the more people I found, and I ran into him. 33. The man that came into the coffee shop. 97. The one that I couldn't keep my eyes off of. I don't know what got me so attracted to this man. I also didn't expect him to be a 𝚕𝚢 nonetheless. I went on his profile, his name, Katsuki Bakugo, for he was simply looking for the right 𝚧𝗪𝗵𝗏 to spoil. He was into men like myself as well, but he went both ways. Recently he has been with several sugar babies, but I'm guessing none of them stook around. 16. His pay ranges. I was mumbling out every little detail on his profile. Should I message him? 84. I thought about it and maybe I was thinking too soon. I was new to this sort of thing and I didn't want to seem like the desperate type. Maybe I can just say hey. 79. I created a new message with this 𝚧𝗪𝚘. 13. Izuku. Hey. 365. Does that seem good enough? I kept looking at the message over and over again, wanting to send it, but every time my thumb would hover over the send button I would quickly pull it away. 27. Okay, Izuku just sends the message. He might not even message back for all you know. There's nothing to worry about. 5. Once I pressed send, that was it. There was no going back now. 10. Soon as expected there was a notification that popped up on my home screen. New message from Katsuki 85. My heart raced. I wasn't expecting a message to come so quickly. It scared me to open it. 54. Katsuki. Well, I'll be damned. I wouldn't expect such an innocent kid like you to be on here. 153. Izuku. You remember me. 11. Katsuki. How can I not remember a face like yours? 286. My heart was thumping so fast at this point. Then another message appeared from him. Katsuki. Sorry for the small talk, darling, but I got to get going. I'll message you tomorrow. 117. And with that, he went offline. This was all coming at me like a train. Do I have it or do I now? No, he hasn't even offered to meet me. Even though we already did in the coffee shop. Just not properly, of course. 6. I put my phone on the charger and laid back on my bed. What the hell have you gotten me into, Kami? I smiled down at my phone, rereading the previous messages that I and the freckled boy sent to one another. 8. His name was Izuku, but soon that name would be replaced with a pet name. 167. I thought of all the different pet names I could muster in my head and rethinking about one in particular. For once the Uber dropped me off in front of the massive hotel where the party was being held, a smirk formed on my lips. My little fawn. 479. I said lowly to myself before walking into the commons of the hotel. I felt the nickname suited the boy due to his freckles that dotted his cheeks and I couldn't help but wonder if they covered elsewhere on his body. 163. I'm getting too ahead of myself, aren't I? 26. No, not at all. 13. A voice answered my question, and when I turned around I saw the one and only. 1. Well, look who it is. I gave an evil grin to my high school friend. I got one in return. 1. I saved you a glass as you said, also the party is on the upper floor. We should get going. Can't believe the 𝗵𝘃𝗲 did it. He saved me a glass of scotch. I took the glass in my hand, not wanting to swallow it down till I hit the top floor. When I was simply saving it. 6. So, the big boss of the company now, huh? 1. Kirishima rubbed the back of his neck, looking down and laughing slightly. I could tell all this was being put onto him abruptly, but surprisingly he was taking it well. Yeah, I guess I'm your boss now, huh? Guess so. I couldn't take it any longer. Soon the golden-colored scotch no longer rested in the glass. 1. Have any luck finding any? I knew what he was referring to. The old shitty hair always looked out for me no matter the situation I was in. Not sure yet. We both entered an elevator and it quickly brought us to the top floor. I know this was his night and all, but I just simply wanted to message my little fawn. I checked the time and it was barely 10:30, probably he was asleep by this time. 45. What do you mean by that? It's hard to tell right now. I know what you mean, man. My doll is upstairs waiting for my return. 15. You two are close, huh? Yeah, actually. I wouldn't trade him for any other 𝗧𝗏𝗵𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Tonight will be a fun night. Let loose Baku bro. You brought back that nickname Shitty Hair. If you get to call me Shitty Hair, then it's an only fair man. TC whatever. 8 When we reached the upper floor, many people were celebrating. I didn't expect a lot to show up. The celebration was for a good cause anyway. I stooped to the sidelines, going to the alcohol table and stocking up from there. To Kaminari's POV, I laughed at the number of messages and screenshots Izuku had been sending me. He knew nothing of this lifestyle, but the messages that were being sent to him made me laugh. 6 I walked around with a champagne glass in my fingers, taking little sips here and there. Right now Kiri was associating with all the people that came to his party and supported him along the way. When I looked back at my phone, one text message caught my eye. Izuku, MMS6 Izuku, MMS 16273. Finding a picture of an older Bakugo was difficult. It's currently 1 in the morning and it took me 15 minutes just to look for the right picture. Face with tears of joy. 18 When I looked at the picture, I nearly choked on my champagne. The man that was in the picture looked like Kiri's best friend. I looked around the room for a minute and that's when I saw the man in the picture. 18 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗵𝗲. Is this the guy? I know he isn't wearing a suit in this pic, but pretend that he is LMAO. 92 I know he isn't wearing a suit in this pic, but pretend that he is LMAO. I just really thought the picture suited the situation. Face with tears of joy. Izu, did you just take that? Kami, yes. He's actually at the party I'm at. Is this crazy? Izu saved one photo from Kami 121. Kami, you just saved that photo, didn't you? Izu, shut up. He looked good in it. 15 Kami, Izu, stop it. Kami, I'm not complaining he is hot, but I've heard that he's very picky when it comes to his sugar babies. I'm just warning you now. Izu, I mean we only talked for a little bit. So Kami, wait, what do you mean? Like you had a full-on convo with him? Izu, is that bad? Kami, you sly dog. I didn't think you had it in you. 𝚬𝚠𝗎𝗧𝗔. Wow, I'm like offended right now. 9 Kami. Don't take it in a bad way. You're just shy and don't seem like the type to make the first move, but look at you. 9 Izu. Yeah. I gotta get to bed. I have class tomorrow and I can't miss my second day. Kami, go get you some Izu. 43 Izu. Shut up. 10 I laughed at the last message he had sent. Doll, what are you smiling about? Oh, just my friend was messaging me. The one that's having financial problems. 68 I took another long sip from my champagne and set it on the table behind me. Yeah, but turns out he's getting into the whole 𝚎𝚪𝚢𝚔𝚌 scene so. 2, is that so? I nodded at Kiri and walked up closer to him, looking him up and down before moving my hands to his tie and fixing it some. I felt a finger gently rest under my chin and lift my head. My eyes met red ones and I smiled gently at my daddy. 93, thank you for coming tonight. It means a lot to me. 1 Kiri smiled at me before bringing his lips to meet mine. I smiled into the kiss, not wanting it to end. I tasted scotch on his tongue and truthfully I enjoyed it. I'll add $500 to your PayPal for joining me tonight. You earned it. 186, you don't have to dash. 5 He cut me off with a peck. I want a doll, plus like I said before you earn the money. 10 I thanked him and the rest of the night we chatted with others. Soon a certain blonde appeared before us and it was the same one Izuku had talked to me about. I'm heading home. Shitty hair. Don't get too crazy tonight. I looked at Kiri and he laughed at the blonde's words. I could tell they were close friends. I'm not. Be careful getting home. Kiri patted the man on the back before he walked away. Who was that? Oh, that's my good friend Katsuki. We've been friends ever since high school. Soon it'll be his turn to run the company. Oh wow. You two go way back then. I saw that the smile on Kiri's lips never faded away. Instead, it stayed there and I could tell he was thinking about his friend. You don't even know half of it. 10 Kiri laughed and looked at me. I could tell tonight had been a good night. I was pleased to be daddy's +1. When morning rolled around, my phone's alarm went off telling me it was time to get up. When I rolled over to look at Kami's side, he wasn't laying in his bed, which was strange because he had told me he would be back before midnight. 5 I wondered where he was and feared for the worst. Did Kami have it or do I? If he had told me I totally forgot and it would only make sense since he showed me the sugar app. 18 I didn't feel like going to my classes either. Today was the second day, but also I don't have the proper supplies I need for Mrs. March's class. For I thought about the blonde man that I talked to last night. Maybe I should just have my day. 1 What am I even thinking? This is nothing like myself. Usually, I'm so responsible. When I looked at the time on my phone it read 7:45, then that's when my phone dinged. Katsuki, morning my little fawn. 2:03 The nickname Katsuki gave me sent my stomach into an emotional rave. It made me smile and feel all bubbly. 58 We still messaged on the app since we both hadn't given out our personal information yet. 5 Izuku, little fawn. Oh, where did that nickname come from? 17 Katsuki, your freckles of course darling. 46 I touched my cheek, running my fingertips over my freckles that dotted it. 3 This man admired such a simple aspect of my features and made them seem special in a certain sense. For Katsuki, but as much as I would love to chat with you some more, I'm almost certain you should be getting to class. Am I right? 42 Just in that short message, I could sense a smirk that's probably plastered onto his face at this very moment. Katsuki is right, though I need to worry about my college and work up to my dream. Izuku, you're right, I'll talk to you later though. Katsuki, of course darling. 23 Izuku, great. Talk to you later Kaken. 121 1 Katsuki's POV. I stared at my phone in amazement. The nickname this boy gave me was unordinary but somehow suited me. It was like a nickname someone would call me in middle school. 1:14 When I had gotten to the office, shitty hair was nowhere in sight. I wasn't surprised since his big party had gone on until midnight the next morning. I guess I'll have to sort out the plans myself. Mr. Bakugu. I winced when I heard my name. It was none other than my secretary Kami. 131 She was what you would call a gold digger. How do I know this? Let's just say that she's been trying to get with me ever since my position was raised. 19 Once that happened, she started showing more cleavage and would rub her acrylic hands on my shoulders and down my arms. 41 I didn't choose her to be my secretary, she volunteered. Remember that I said the volunteer. 10 What is it, Kami? 5 I heard her signature stiletto heels clack against the marble flooring. That's when she came behind me, basically breathing down my neck by this point. 36 I didn't see you at the party for Mr. Hotshot. It was a shame to not see your face there. 14 I could sense a little pout in her tone. She then came in front of me, giving a devilish grin. The makeup she wore was stunning, but overboard for my liking. 15 What's it to you if you didn't get to see me? Kami smoothed out my suit, making an obvious move. I knew what she was trying to do and I only gave her a smirk. 2 I leaned into her ear. She tensed up and I couldn't help but give a little laugh. I bet you want me to take you right here and right now, am I right? 127 She was silent and then a small whimper left her plump lips. I can tell with the way you're rubbing your thighs together. 25 I kept my mouth close to her ear, whispering more. It made me laugh with how vulnerable I made her felt, and it was all in the way her body was reacting to my words. But here's the problem. I'm not going to F my wear of a secretary no matter how much you beg for it. 2:55 That's when I walked away from her. Stunned she was, and I could tell it in her face due to her mouth being wide open. 20 I walked into my office, and it was then when I started thinking about Izuku once more. I thought about what would happen if he were my SRBBY and what it would be like. I grabbed my phone from my pocket and messaged the boy. It seemed like a pretty good idea. For one, Kakin, I know you're in class and all, but I was wondering if you would like to have dinner with me and we can discuss arrangements there. 19 I smiled at my courage. Not even a second later my phone dinged and it was Izuku. Izuku, sounds great. Kakin, good, I'll pick you up this weekend. Wear something nice. 56 I smirked and all I could think about is the freckled boy's face burning up in embarrassment right about now. 14 Izuku's POV. Kakin, I know you're in class and all, but I was wondering if you would like to have dinner with me and we can discuss arrangements there. 6 When I saw that message it was like my stomach did a whole 360 degrees turn. I wasn't ready, nor emotionally stable, but somehow my thumbs made out the words for me. 8 Izuku, sounds great. I wanted to do a facepalm to say how stupid I am for just saying yes that quickly. We barely started talking and to top that off we don't know anything about each other. Today was Thursday. I still had 2 days to spare and plan out everything so I can be prepared. Maybe I can do some research over 𝚘𝚘𝚐. Is that considered stalking? 35 Of course, it's not stalking. But all I'm going to do is look up general information that will let me get to know Kakin a little better. 9 Turns out after my classes for today I went back into my dorm room and I ended up getting deeper and deeper into all the information and ended up getting buried in it. 6 If you would have looked through my phone's history you would have thought I was a stalker with the number of questions I asked Google. 31 Also, there was still no sign of Kami when I had gotten back. I hope he is fine, it's kind of stressing me out now. 2 nights ago Kami had come back. It was probably midnight when he had came inside and plopped onto his bed, immediately passing out afterward. Whatever he does is his business and I don't want to get interfered with it. As long as he came back to the dorm I was okay. 84 Today was finally Saturday and I got to sleep in. I'm getting further behind though in language arts due to me not having the materials. I had to use Shoto's textbook to get some of the notes done. When I walked into the bathroom I undressed and quickly took a shower. I had some time to pick out an outfit and think about all the possible questions Kakin would ask me. For I stood in the shower, having the water run over my face. My nerves were already kicking in and my stomach was flipping all over the place. This was my first date and I just wanted to go well. 6 I groaned in frustration wanting to back out, but I like Kakin, believe it or not. Even though we just started talking, these past few days have been nice talking to him. He asks how my day was and then we go from there and I also sense a hint of flirtatious wording when he texts. 16 I cut off the shower and grab the towel from the toilet, wrapping it around my waist and step out into the foggy bathroom. 2 It was either now or never. Who knows, maybe this date will end well. When I walked out of the bathroom I saw Kami. I remember him telling me he was going to get coffee downtown. Lately he hasn't been in the dorm like he usually has been. It gets quiet and it makes me feel lonely, to be honest. So, how do you feel? I walk to my dresser and rummage around for good dress clothes. Nervous, I grab some underwear and denim pants, along with a simple shirt. Not classy, which indeed lets everyone know I'm poor. 74, well, in my opinion, you're not going to get recognized by the man himself wearing just that. 6. I look down at the handful of clothes in my arms and sigh. Kami was right, I'm not going to get noticed in such simple clothing. 2. What should I wear then? I have no actual good clothes. 3. I saw a smirk form on Kami's lips, that's when I knew I shouldn't have asked. 6. Leave it up to me. I went back into the bathroom, shutting the door in the process, waiting for the blonde to knock. You'll love this, Izu. I promise. God, I hope he's right. Soon a knock was on the bathroom door and I opened it a bit to where I can reach for the clothes. When Kami handed me the clothes, I didn't know how to feel. 324 on me, they were nowhere near casual, but what are you to expect when you're going on your first ever date with a 𝗧𝗪𝚷𝚘? Come out and show me. Kami practically squealed from outside the door, waiting. When he opened it, he gasped loudly while I, on the other hand, fixed the vest on the button-up. You look amazing. 24. I blushed at the compliment and he quickly went to roll up the sleeves of the white button-up shirt. 1. Now when your soon-to-be sugar daddy rolls up in his Rolls-Royce, you will be prepared. Of course, don't forget the dessert afterward. 16. Kami winked at me, fixing the last sleeve. I had to admit I did look somewhat good and presentable. Also, I don't think he drives that kind of car. 16. I was being sarcastic, Izu. 3. Kami laughed and stepped back a bit, looking for anything he could fix whilst putting his thumb under his chin. Do you know those famous painters who admire their paintings? Except I'm the painting, and of course Kami is the famous painter. Yeah, it felt like that. Mr. Katsuki Bakugu drives a red Ferrari. 18. How do you dash? I do my research, Izu, plus I know almost everything about the man. He's famous if you ask me. When I was puzzled. Kami has done way more research than me. 5. Earth to Izuku. Don't space out like that. Sorry, I am just really nervous about this whole thing. I mean, what if I don't look good enough? 4. As I have said before, you look great, don't doubt it. Kaminari smiled at me, and that's when my phone vibrated from my bed. Kaken, I'm out front, can't wait to see you. 91. He's here. My heart was beating 10x faster than it was before and I broke out into a cold sweat. 8. Izuku, calms down, you'll be fine. If anything, enjoys tonight. This is the one night where everything will be about you. 2. I grabbed my phone and headed to the door, patting my pockets, searching for my dorm key. Thanks, Kami, but where's my key? Oh, you won't be needing it. 84. The blonde gave me a wink and pushed me out the door, rushing me to get out. 7. I have no way back into the dorm room, why would he hide the key from me? 10. Then it came to me, I started rattling the doorknob trying to get back in, but there was no luck in that since Kaminari had already locked the door. 20. Kaminari. Open the door. Nope. You'll thank me later, Izu. Now go get them, tiger. 17. I pushed my back up against the metal door of our dorm room and groaned. I knew by the end of this date I had no choice but to spend the night with Kaken. How well is that going to go? 4. Kaminari, you are such a -5. I hope you know I can still hear you. I heard Kaminari's voice on the other side of the door. But when I come back you're going to be so dead. Stop complaining. If anything, you should be thanking me. Now instead of arguing with me, shouldn't you be going to meet your date? He was right. I took a deep breath in then out, trying to calm my nerves. With that, I started walking down the hall and to the main floor of the campus. 5. There outside stood a ruby red Ferrari with tinted windows. I rested my hand on the metal bar to open the glass door. I hesitated at first, but soon when I got my act together I decided to just go for it. Here goes nothing. When I pushed open the glass door, all I could hear was the engine of the blonde man's car roaring in the night. 6. I know I couldn't see him from the darkly tinted windows, but I knew he was looking at me. 17. I let the glass door close fully behind me and walked up to the bright red car. Even if it was dark out, you could still see how bright it was, even if it weren't in the sun. When I pulled open the car door, that's when I saw him. 1. Well. 233 His deep voice gave me chills that ran down my back, and in an instant my cheeks started to heat up. For I sat down in the car and shut the door. The smell of cologne seemed to linger around, and I inhaled as much as I could, enjoying his scent. 5 Is that crazy? Am I weird for doing such a thing? 20 Don't get all flustered now, baby boy. You weren't like that at all when we messaged. Now were you? 176 I guess not. I heard a deep chuckle come from him, and a hand came to squeeze my thigh. 135 Baby boy. That was a new one. 29 You look nice. 1 Kakin removed his hand from my leg and winked at me. His attitude was different. He was nice, but a hint of aggressiveness lingered in the air. 11 Thank you. For I kept my head down, embarrassed by the whole situation. I didn't know what to talk about at all. I was so awkward when it came to things like these. 19 Katsuki's POV. I have to admit, when I first saw the green-haired boy, I was astonished by what he was wearing. For just to have him in my car was progress. I'm one step closer to potentially having a 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗍𝗑𝗐. 16 The way he sat in my car, being all sub-like, drove me crazy. I have to remember my little fawn isn't like the other 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗏 I've had in the past. He was special and more fragile. 141 I wanted to spoil him right then and there, take him out of his shell and let him see what it feels like. Pure bliss. 49 The feeling of static electricity coursing through your veins, the adrenaline pumping, but it'll take some time before we try to hurdle over that step. Where are we going? The boy was at a mellow tone, but I could hear his delicate voice. Oh, how I wanted to take him back to my condo and do so many things with him, ruin him to be exact, but that was an but move. 141 But bringing him back to my condo doesn't sound half bad, does it? We can share a glass of champagne and talk about arrangements. My God, if this kid hasn't drunk yet. 11 I put my car into drive and I sped out of the college area. We were heading to the city, but my condo was on the outskirts. It still overlooked the whole shebang and all that. 4 We are going to go to my condo, there it'll be quiet and we can talk. 10 I saw the freckled boy nod. Once he did, I put the car in neutral and pulled out from the college. 16 Are you enjoying college so far? 2 I wanted to make small conversations so the ride wouldn't be that awkward. Yeah, but recently my laptop broke and I need a textbook, so I don't have the proper materials to do the work. 60 Not even my 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏 and already asking for things. 167 𝗬𝗲𝗏 Calm down, I'm joking, doll face. 55 I laughed at my little fawn. He got flustered quickly and it was quite funny, to be honest. 17 What about your college tuition? For now my mother is paying for it. 56 I sped up as we went through the bright city. Lights shone everywhere and I could tell he hasn't seen this sight yet. As he looked out, the lights shone on his face and I could see it in his eyes that he was dazzled by them. Do you see this every day? Izuku kept his eyes glued out the window and we soon stopped at a red light. Yep, that building right over there is where I work at. The top floor. 5 I pointed to a building that stood out from the rest. I mean it did, since it was bigger than all the other skyscrapers. 1 Whoa, Izuku acted like a child and honestly it was pretty cute, seeing his mouth slightly agape. 83 When the light was green the first went slow since there were cars all around me. Here, I decided to roll down his window so he could get the full effect since my windows were tinted. 3 He rested his arms on the seal where he window hid and he put his head down on his arms, admiring the view. 1 I had no 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗍 do this before. Usually, all they talked about was wanting this and wanting that, but Izuku was different from the rest. 49 Enjoying the view. All I heard was him hum. Soon all the lights were gone, but he still looked at everything. It's interesting to see how invested you are in the view. Have you ever seen the city before? 2 Izuku brought his head practically back into the car, running his fingers through his hair. No, actually. I lived on the outside. Well, get used to it. It seemed to me that I had perked his interest a little. I smirked at the boy. My condo rested on a hill that overlooked the entire city and what is now 𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘 company. 14 It was away from everyone and secluded. I like feeling secluded away from everyone. 59 When I parked outside the condo I saw that Izuku was a little hesitant and I walked over beside him. There's a lot you will need to get used to. I lead him through the doors with my arm being wrapped around his waist. For a little tense. It was normal since he wasn't quite used to any of this and he was scared. I needed to make him not feel that way, instead make him feel safe. Izuku's POVs, the condo was amazing, aesthetically pleasing as well. Although Kaken's arm around my waist made me feel embarrassed. Go have a seat, princess, and I'll bring us some champagne. 116 I felt Kaken's hands softly rub on my back when he left. When he went around a corner, I made my way into the living space. 3 It was appealing instead of a wall, it was just a huge window, overlooking the entire city. For I ran my hand over the black leather couch and decided to go look at the view. 13 Maybe I could get used to this. 53 Thought you would never say that. 28 I heard Kaken chuckle lowly, and once again I have gotten goosebumps and got tense. Come have a seat. He sat down on the couch and I took a seat next to him. So, talking about arrangements and how all this will go. He took a sip of what seemed to be whiskey. I had a small glass of bubbly champagne, holding it with my thumb and index finger delicately. I said, taking a sip, grimacing afterward. I had never drunk and it was kind of difficult to get used to. 17 You'll get used to it. I made a face that anyone would make after eating a lemon. 89 But if you agree to become my 𝚜𝚐𝚔𝚔, I have a few rules. 1 I nodded at him, taking a bigger sip, finally getting used to the stinging taste. You will not be able to have a relationship with another 𝚧𝚪𝚢𝚘 or anyone. You're mine and I would like you to stay that way. 62 Kaken made the whiskey in his glass twirl. He looked at it longingly before swigging it all down in one go. 4 I understand that. But another thing, you do have a PayPal, right? I think I do. I remember making one recently, so yes I do. That's the way you'll be receiving money. It'll range from 500 to 10,000 depending on what I feel like you deserve. 94 I was shocked, I nearly choked. What he was willing to give me, I could easily buy 3 laptops if I wanted to. Okay. Also I'll pay for your college tuition. 48 I was speechless. What he was talking about paying was at least 3,000 monthly. 31 That's a lot of money. 9 I blurted out abruptly, Princess, you have to remember I'm second to be in the line with the biggest company in this city. 9 Oh yeah, I forgot about that. 30 I can get you whatever your heart desires. 65 That smirk he always gives shows a little of his canine and it just drives me insane. 6 What about a new laptop? 23 You want one? Oh, wait, I forgot you need one. 44 What would I have to do to get that? And possibly a language arts textbook. I set my empty champagne glass down on the coffee table. While Kaken was talking business, I was taking sip and sip of the champagne. 1 Well, princess, seems to me like you've earned yourself those things. 66 You're kidding, right? Nope. I'll give my secretary a call and you should have everything by tomorrow. 5 I was speechless. 3 You seem surprised. Yeah, I didn't think you would do it so quick. 3 That's for you. You're living luxury now, so get used to it. 38 I felt Kaken put his finger under my chin. Soon my eyes were looking into his ruby red ones. 2 It was like I started to melt, and it was like when we first made eye contact in the coffee shop. A princess deserves to be spoiled and treated with the finest riches. And that's what I'm going to do. 157 My face started to heat up when I heard the smooth words escape his lips. Kaken's thumb gently ran over my freckled cheek, and it was like time froze from there. 2 We stayed like that for a couple of minutes of him just caressing my cheek and admiring my face. You got all dressed up for me too, such a good boy. 2 Oh, for that's when the attitude changed. Kaken was being more flirtatious and praising me. 5 I bit my lip. I didn't want to tease him, that wasn't my intention at all. 13 His thumb ran over my bottom lip, pulling it from my teeth. I could tell how his eyes dropped in a certain way, that he was being lustful and wanted to go so far, but I couldn't let him. IF is one thing but actual SEC is another, and we had only just met and stood face to face for a couple of hours, or what seemed to be. 110 I dared to bring my hand up and to the back of his neck, playing with his hair. I would do so much to you if I could, wouldn't you like that? 3 As much as I would cack-3, Daddy. For 56 it was new to me, saying that word out loud was something I never knew I would be doing. 13, as much as I would like to daddy I'm not ready for that. 59. Then he moved a tad bit closer to where I could feel his warm breath on my lips. Teasing in a way, he brushed his against mine before fully kissing me, but it didn't last long before he pulled away. I'll respect your boundaries, princess. I'll wait until you're ready. 159. With that, he pulled away, and it was then when I wanted more and wanted to go as far as I could. But I knew if I did I probably would have regretted my decisions. When I woke up I wasn't in my regular clothes, nor was I in my dorm bed. I sat up quickly, causing my head to spin a bit. 6. Soon I felt a pair of arms wrap around my waist and low groans. 2. Daddy, what are you doing? 134. Stay. 5. His voice was deep and raspy, and I could have sworn I could melt. Silky sheets wrapped around my body, and I wanted to fall back asleep, but I just couldn't. In reality, I needed to get back to the dorms. I kinda have to get back to the dorms. Soon my phone started to vibrate out of nowhere. It was my mom. I haven't talked to her since moving into my dorm, and there was so much to talk to her about. Who is it? My phone rested on the nightstand closest to me. It moved with every vibration. My mom. I can't answer it. 15. Then don't. 35. Kakin laid on his back now, rubbing his eyes. I'll call her back later. Soon the vibration stopped, indicating that the call went to voicemail. I knew she was going to be suspicious, and I couldn't blame her, nor am I going to ever hear the end of it. But remind me to call Cammy. Oh, who's Cammy? I giggled at him, and a grunt escaped his lips. He looked disgusted. Really? My where of a secretary. Unfortunately, she's going to be getting the laptop and textbook. I called her last night. They should be there when you get back. You didn't have to. 1. Hey. Kakin turned his head, looking at me, and his red eyes seemed to pierce through mine. 16. I could never tell what was going through his mind, unfortunately. I wanted to get into depth with him and get to know him fully. Everything about this man excited me in more ways than one. 6. What did I tell you last night? That a prince deserves all the finest riches. Am I wrong? 7. A smirk formed on his lips. Exactly. 27. He then grabbed the loose shirt that rested on my body and pulled me closer, pecking my lips. Now, we have to get up since you want to get back to the dorms so eagerly. We both got up and went to the bathroom. 1. Everything in here will be a spare for you, such as a toothbrush, but if you want you can just use my hairbrush and body wash. I don't mind my princess smelling like me once in a while. 56. A blush crept onto my cheeks and he smiled at me. When we stood by each other he was much broader and taller than me. I quite liked it. 6. Maybe Cammy was right. Wait, hats of first because Cammy is hardly ever right. 139. I know one thing for sure. When I get back to the dorms he's going to be asking for all the deeds. Oh, and call me daddy more often. 175. Kakin winked at me and walked out of the bathroom with his toothbrush. The new one that he had given me. This man was never going to stop by making me embarrassed, is he? 3. I brushed my teeth and went back into the bedroom. There were clothes already laid out on the bed for me. You can wear some of my clothes. They might be a bit big, but they'll be all right. 1. Daddy, when will we meet up again? 127. That's a very good question, princess. You're free to come over here whenever you like. I enjoy the company. Tuesday I will need you to come with me to an auction. An auction? What are you selling? I asked, putting on the clothes. One of my houses. 29. You have a house. 53. Kakin laughed at me. 1. I have multiple sweethearts. There's a lot you still need to learn about me. 3. Well, tell me about yourself. 1. You sure? Of course. Well, 11. He walked up closer to me, hovering over my smaller frame like a predator stalking its prey. 7. What if I told you I would love to see you in some lingerie that showed off your perfect body? 212. Are you into that? 3. Only one way to find out, huh? 132. His hands gripped my waist, thumbs pressing down on my hip bones. 3. I think it'll look cute to see you in some panties, but a shame that they would immediately be strewn onto the floor. 132 lips met my neck after that sentence was said. 61 I quickly held my mouth shut tight when a sinful sound escaped them. It wasn't a normal sound on my part. 8. That was a cute noise. Maybe I can make some more come out. 92 Once again I melted into his touch. I wanted so much, but I couldn't go that far. Was this being mean? He knew my limit, but he didn't seem to go overboard. 1. Say, my name princess. 7. 𝗧𝗂𝘁𝗵𝗏. Now, you know better. Not that one. 96 He moved lower, down to the crook of my neck, biting slightly. 3. 𝚘𝚁. 72. Good boy. 121 His muffled words went onto my neck as he kissed up and down it, sending shivers and electricity shock waves down my body. I loved the praise. It made me feel like I had done something right. 83 When I moved my hand to his side and under his shirt a low growl came from him, and it was like everything had changed. 18 He went back to my lips, biting at my bottom lip aggressively. 39 Was it because I had done something that turned him on? For what would it be like for SEC then? If I had turned him on a lot, would he be aggressive? 6 I wasn't complaining. It excited me to be manhandled in such a way. 27 Catch and need to stop. 2 Surprisingly he stopped. The blonde man rested his forehead against mine. 1 When I happened to look down I saw that he had an 𝚬𝚢𝚘. 105 Was I being a tease? 70 I knew how much he wanted me and how much I wanted him. Sooner or later it isn't going to be like this. We will both lose due to lust, then what will happen? Have you seen Izuku around lately? 5 I asked Ida, my roommate who constantly rests at his desk 24/7. 1 In class. Yeah, he goes with you to your classes, does he not? Not that, Ida. I laid back on my twin-sized bed, looking up at the popcorn ceiling. 8 I mean, like, I don't know, walking around. 1 Isn't that stalkerish? 1 I'm not a stalker. I'm just worried. 1 With what I said made Ida turn around and lift up an eyebrow. What? Why are you looking at me like that? Shoto Todoroki, the principal's son. 14 I turned to look at him now, interested with what was going to come out of his mouth next. What about me? Seems to me you got diagnosed with, oh, what do they call it? A crush. 43 You're kidding, right? 51 I was beyond annoyed at this point. Ida was being crazy. How can I have a crush on a boy I just met that I also have become very close to and basically let him highlight every paragraph in my language arts textbook? 65 Call it whatever you want, Shoto. Now if you will excuse me, I have to get back to this math problem. Yeah, you do that, Ida. Dima go for a walk? By walk do you mean try and look for Izuku? 4 Definitely not. 3 Before I shut the door to our dorm, I could hear Ida laugh at me. He might not seem the playful type, but trust me, when he's not being a dad he can be funny. 39 As I walked down the hall it was quiet. I mean, it was morning and everyone was sleeping. Whether it be from partying too hard and coping with a hangover or just non-morning people. 5 When I reached Izuku's dorm, outside the door rested bags. Like bags as if they were for someone's birthday. Was it Izuku's birthday? 3 I questioned myself. Whatever was in those bags seemed to be quite large due to the bag sizes. 13 I was better off just forgetting about it and not question Izuku when we were face to face. That was until we magically bumped into each other and the green-haired boy basically fell into my arms. 24 He wore clothing that he wouldn't normally wear, black. A plain black shirt with black and red basketball shorts. 13 Izuku isn't the type to wear black. He usually dresses in brighter clothing, plus he was coming in the opposite direction and not from his dorm room. 3 Our faces were inches away from each other. How clique I know. Isn't this the part where the two people fall for each other and share a bonding moment? 93 It was nothing like that. Basically, Izuku quickly broke from my arms and became very flustered. Are you okay, Izuku? Oh, yeah. I'm fine, why wouldn't I be? 3 Just curious. Also, what are you doing out so early? Usually I wouldn't suspect you to sleep in. Just went for a run. 29 Izuku gave me a bright smile whilst scratching the back of his neck. Something felt off in my opinion actually. Wouldn't you be sweaty if you went for a run? Like drenched? 42 Izuku hasn't even broke a sweat. 11. Okay, just to let you know I saw some packages outside your dorm room. Thanks. I would like to chat more but I really have to get going. And with that Izuku walked away. I didn't want to worry about it. Maybe Izuku was telling the truth. He would never lie to me, right? 63 when I turned around the bags and crush was gone. 26 Izuku's POV Aizu. A bubbly blonde Kami ran up to me, squishing my face and hugging me tightly. He was acting like a proud mama. Hey Kami. I laughed, hugging him back. Spill the tea. Tell me everything that happened. Did y'all F yet? 22 So. Oh my god Kami, we are moving slow. 1. Asu you're a tease. 15. Is that bad? You're working up to it. 3. He laughed at me and soon grabbed the bags that were in my hands. What did Mr. Katsuki Bakuga get you? 12. Before I could think he threw the tissue paper all over the place and pulled out a MacBook. 59. It was still in its former glory box. I was speechless. Kami was too and I could tell it was all over his face. Aizu, I say this because I love you. You better keep this 𝚬𝚪𝚢𝚑𝚢. I swear to God if you don't I will beat you with my shoe. 257 I snorted before covering my mouth and laughing even more. I can never take him seriously. You're already so spoiled. I forgot all about your broken laptop. But hey, now you have a better one. Check the other. One I told Kami and he didn't hesitate to throw the paper all over the floor, once again. A textbook. He handed me the textbook and I admired it. This was something I truly needed. When I opened to the very first page, a little note was written in fine tip sharpe. 3. For my beloved princess. Make daddy proud. K209 I blushed at what he said. It made me want to work even harder now. I wanted to make him proud and I knew he wanted to see me excel. 11. Is this all? Kami asked and before I could answer with a no, a ding came from my phone. When Kami and I read the notification that popped up, I dropped my phone in shock. What? Tell me. Kami begged and I pointed to my phone. When he grabbed it his eyes went wide and we both were in a state of shock together. Holy, please tell me I read that number correctly. Please tell me it has 2 zeros instead of 4. 3. Kami took one more look. Nope, that is indeed $10,000 now in your PayPal account. 362 today is just full of surprises and it's only just begun. Kaken. The money shows how well I enjoyed your company last night. I know my range is nowhere near that amount, but I just thought you earned it. Can't wait for Tuesday, I have an outfit already picked out for you, 68p. I'm already working on your wardrobe at my place 6712 from this morning my mom had called, so I decided to give her a call back. Kaminari had gone out for the night. Date nights are something special that every 𝚬𝚪𝚢𝚑𝚢 needs to be there for their daddy. It's where they discuss business once again, according to Kami. One I smiled to myself thinking about the two of them. I haven't yet met Kiri, but from what I have heard he's a really good person towards Kami. I just hope that Kaken and I can build a relationship like theirs, but so far it's going great. I just need to get used to all of it still. Izuku, how are you doing? Is anyone giving you trouble? Have you made any new friends? 1. Slow down mom, I laughed. She was eager to get to know about everything that has been going on and truthfully I don't blame her. I haven't talked to her in a couple of weeks. Collage is going great actually. I have made a couple of new friends. 39 I put her on speaker so I could go through my new textbook. I still looked at the note Kaken had left me. It made me feel happy that he cares. 3 That's great sweetheart. It's been getting a little lonely at the house. Maybe you should come and visit sometime. You're not that far away. 2 I laughed and doodled hearts around the note. 36 You know I can't do that maybe on holiday breaks. 3 Yeah, maybe so. The line was quiet for a bit and I didn't really know what else to say from there. Obviously couldn't tell her I had a 𝚬𝚢𝚢𝚢𝚢𝚢𝚢. 16 Well, I'll talk to you some other time. Don't be afraid to call. I'm always here for you. 1 I know mom. I smiled into the phone and I could tell she was giving it her all not to cry. 4 Love you Izuku. Love you too mom. Then it was quiet all over again. At this moment I kind of wished we could have talked a little while longer. I also wished I were at the condo with Kakin, but I knew he had to be busy. The only reason why he dropped me off early was so I wasn't seen by anyone, but running into Shoto was a huge mistake cause now he has a suspicion something is up. Izuku had skipped class on Monday. It was nothing like him, but something inside him had changed. He felt powerful and high and mighty instead of shy and vulnerable. Making snarky comments to Kami and made him laugh and joke. 3. 𝗵𝗵𝗍𝗂𝘂. Ever since 10,000 went in your PayPal you became such a rebel. I wouldn't call myself a rebel. Izuku closed the highlighter he was using to copy today's notes that he had gotten from Shoto. Instead call it a self-improvement. A smirk formed on the freckled boy's cherry red lips. 19. Self-improvement huh? Kaminari just laughed at him. It was funny to see the way Izuku was acting, but he wasn't going to lie. He liked the new and improved Aizu. Fine, since you're all high and mighty you should come to the party Thursday night. 2. Party. This perked Izuku up and caught his attention. Still, deep down he was scared. This would be his first ever party. 4. Yep, the first part of the year. I'll come with you. Izuku blurted out so suddenly without even thinking. Was this a good idea? 9. Kaminari smiled brightly at Izuku. Good. He said, ruffling Izuku's hair afterward. Should I bring Shoto along? 7. Why not? The more the merrier, but I'm not going to babysit y'all. Yeah. 8. You look stunning. 1. Even though Izuku wore a plain black button-up shirt and pants to match, Katsuki walked up behind him and wrapped a black leather choker around his neck. 12. The choker did hug his neck a little too tight, but not to the point to where it would bother Izuku. Why a choker? 5. If you don't like it you can always take it off. Katsuki smirked and folded his arms together, trying to be tempting. Almost like a, take it off I dare you, type of way. 1. No, I'll leave it on. Good, now don't you make me regret sending you 10K. 13. Shouldn't I thank you for that? On a more personal level. 70. Izuku turned around from the body mirror to face his daddy. 7. He was always dressed in some sort of suit. Nothing more and nothing less, adding a watch to accompany the look. He knew he rich and he just wanted to show all that off. His ego was important to him and you could easily tell. 6. Before Izuku could even think he was pulled by his hips. When he looked up it was like Katsuki's whole demeanor had changed. And how do you plan on doing that? 75. Quite frankly the blonde's actions made Izuku 𝗧𝗵𝗲 to the point where he gave up. I haven't had time to think this far. 10. Izuku played with the choker by putting fingers in between it, moving it ever so slightly. I'm sure you'll think of something soon, plus tonight is a very important night. Right? One of your mansions is going to be sold in the auction. 1. So that means you have to be looking good for me. Not that you don't already. Katsuki was still in front of him, holding onto his hips quite tightly, maybe even a little too tight. 15. If we don't go now you're going to tempt me to ruin that cute choker I got you by ripping it off and replacing it with my hand instead. 121. Izuku gulped. The tension in the room became thick with lust and it radiated off of the blonde. 1. But I bet you would like that instead of that choker, am I right? 16. He wasn't wrong but should I take this opportunity? 44. A brave little smirk plastered across Izuku's face. When you put starter fluid to a fire, all it's going to do is ignite the fire even more and make it even bigger. But also what's life without a little fun, right? 9. You know, you aren't wrong daddy, but I didn't come here to I came here to be your +1 at the auction. 22. Heh, that can change faster than you think princess. 16. It was never ending. Both males were intimidating one another. 16. Oh really? Don't believe me. Never said I didn't. Izuku was all high and mighty now, but it wasn't long until a hand grabbed his jaw and red eyes met his. 14. Well, 𝗧𝗏13 just going to leave this here smiling face with hearts. 122. Just going to leave this here smiling face with hearts. 31. You brat, think you're so high and mighty. Look at you, you want a gold star. I can change that high and mighty attitude real quick. 119. What happened to the nice Kakin that gave Izuku a nice first date, textbook and laptop? It was like Kakin had turned mean, but more dim and tea. At the moment Izuku's cheeks were squished somewhat, eyes filled with fear now and his heart beating out his chest. "Heh, what happened, princess? What happened to the bratty attitude you were giving me?" 37. I don't dash. You don't know. 5. Katsuki played with the leather choker around Izuku's neck, tapping his finger on the metal part. Don't be scared. 34. Katsuki's voice also changed. It was deeper from before, and if Izuku has learned one thing, it was that when Katsuki was corny or dingy, his voice tended to get deeper. 24. If anything, I know for a fact that you want this choker off and would rather it be my hand, wouldn't you? Kaken dash. 2. Katsuki's eyes darted from Izuku's mouth to his emerald eyes, looking at him like an animal stalking its prey. Shut the F up, Deku. 178 Deku. Did Kaken make a mistake by calling Izuku a different 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗔𝗂𝗵𝗵 name? What was going on? The now friendly Katsuki is now mean. 25. In all honesty, it kind of turned Izuku on. 76. Before Izuku knew it, lips met his, roughly. It was all happening at once. What was he to do? Two personalities can happen. When Katsuki wasn't corny or feeling dingy, he was sweet, caring, and loving. But when he was corny, it was so different. Izuku had noticed this beforehand when they shared their first kiss, but he thought nothing of it. 5. What would he even call this? Plus then that's when Katsuki said it. I want you, please, princess. I want you, please, princess. 2. Was this rational? Did Izuku want this? 18. Katsuki's lips met the other boy's neck, kissing it gently, wanting more and more. Izuku didn't pull away, he didn't want to. It was like his Kaken had him wrapped around his finger. 1. I know you want me. The way your body is getting all heated, cheeks flustered with a hint of pink dusting them. 24. Katsuki removed his lips from the other's upper neck, looking at how vulnerable the other looked. 2. Like a prize almost. Am I right? 3. Izuku nodded his head in shame, only for his chin to be lifted back up again to look into ruby red eyes. 6. See. There's no doubt that you want me too. The whole room was filled with tension, and amongst them was lust. 8. Katsuki wanted one thing, to wreck and give pleasure. 57. On the other hand, Izuku was very hesitant of Katsuki. He felt that in any second Katsuki would go back to being DMNT and call him that nickname, manhandling him. Not that there was anything wrong with that. 9. Izuku's 𝗃𝗍𝗔𝗂𝘁𝗵𝚔 Kaken smelled nice. Really nice, like I wanted to melt into his scent. 2. Like when you have hard liquor and add a little fruity juice to it. 54. He was close to me, really close. See. There's no doubt that you want me too. I wanted all of him right here and right now. I wasn't even this type of person, but my God, I certainly don't want to turn down this offer. Don't hold back from me. If he didn't want me, 𝗏𝗏, there's only one thing I had to do. I pressed my lips against him, eager for what was to come. In an instant, I was being lifted and carried over to a bed. 26. This was happening. I don't know about this. Kaken looked into my eyes being on top of me, and he just smiled. Don't worry, princess. I'll take good care of you, I promise. 5. I trusted him, but was it a mistake? 126. First, if we're going to do this, let's take this off. I knew he was indicating the leather choker that still wrapped around my neck. Soon it ended up on the floor, so did clothing from both of us. 3. From a shirt and tie, down to both of our boxers. With a little mix-up afterward, Kaken had to lean over to the nightstand drawer to grab a small bottle of lube that was half empty. 24. I'm guessing you used that on multiple other people. 29. I added a little laugh to not make him think I was hurt. I knew I wasn't his first, but he was going to be mine. 9. I know you want this special, princess, so I'm going to try my hardest. 1. Kaken smiled down at me and kissed my forehead, moving some of the hair in the process. 2. Warning, 𝗧𝗵𝗲 292 third person POV. Katsuki put some of the cold lube onto his slim fingers, rubbing it all over them, trying to make it at a decent temperature. 11. He leaned down to Izuku's level. If it hurts, please tell me. At any point you want me to stop, I will. 37. The blonde boy gave Izuku a reassuring smile, his red eyes looking into green ones. For 𝗧𝗏𝗏. Izuku stuttered out, and when the room temperature liquid touched Katsuki's princess. Prepping was a little bit on the iffy side. Tears filled green eyes, and they were only disappeared by Katsuki kissing them away. 16 Soon another finger was added and that made 2. It filled Izuku, yes, but soon little whines and whimpers turned into mules that couldn't be contained from the smaller boy. 36 See, you're enjoying it now, It made the blonde man smirk down in satisfaction. The boy made a lewd face, expressing how much he loved it. Pumping his fingers in and out soon became not enough. And it was then when Izuku wanted more. You're getting a little greedy, princess. Don't think I can't feel you pushing down on my fingers. 11 more, please. 9 Earlier you weren't saying this. I'll give you something better than my fingers. For with a little more clear sticky liquid, Kakin lubed up his PP, lining it up with Deku's hole. 28 please. Izuku squirmed on the bed, impatiently. It was just earlier that he was scared of losing his virginity, but pure bliss and lust ran through his veins. 5 Please what? 42 Katsuki teased the boy, rubbing his tip over and over Izuku's hole. It only made him squirm and whine, even more, pushing down trying to at least get the tip in. But Katsuki only laughed at the younger boy's actions by this point. You know, trying to push down on my PP isn't going to help you in this situation. If you want it, you're going to have to beg for it, princess. For please what? And I don't know what you're asking for. Please daddy, I want you to F me already. 238 Good boy. 32 Only halfway inside Izuku, Katsuki saw Izuku's back arch in pleasure. It was then when he leaned down closer to Izuku to whisper raw words into his ear. You want me to wreck you, 𝚬𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗𝚗 I bet you would love that. 54 Izuku in pleasure. His voice echoed and bounced off the walls. 1 Take that as a yes. 7 Katsuki smirked and licked at Izuku's earlobe. Little pants were being pushed into Kakin's and he could hardly contain himself. 11 It's too much. 3 Kakin growled. You're practically squeezing so tightly around me. The blonde moved hard inside Izuku, making him louder. 2 Do you want me to stop? With that, Izuku pulled Katsuki in closer with his legs, not wanting him to stop. This made Katsuki laugh in satisfaction. 9 Izuku's face was now a light pink, pants left his mouth, and his cock as well as HRD on his tummy twitching. 40 Well. 54 A hand wrapped around it, thumbing the pre-cum over the tip, making it harder. Kakin, Katsuki pumped Izuku's while still thrusting into him. The pleasure was coming from both ways and it only drove Izuku more over the edge. White liquid spurts all over Izuku's and Katsuki's stomach. 15 I am sorry, don't apologize, princess, but now it's my turn. Katsuki kept thrusting until he too hit his peak, filling the other boy up. 20 Both boys did this until the sun peeked over the horizon and it was sunrise. I knew what was going on behind closed doors. I wasn't stupid. 11 I tapped my acrylic nail against my wine glass and thought about ways I could go through with my plan. 136 I wanted Katsuki for myself, not no one else's. And that worthless where doesn't deserve him. 59 All he wants is the money. 75 What better way to go through with this than to have that where hate him? 3 I smiled at the thought all I have to do is get Katsuki to sleep with me, but how? 8 And how would I get his boy toy to walk in on us? Then it hit me, drag him. 170 Not to the point where Katsuki passes out, but to the point where he doesn't know what he is doing. Then I message. Oh, what's his name? Izuku. I've only heard Katsuki speak his name out loud only twice in the workplace since he calls him on his off shifts. 5 I will message Izuku to come to Katsuki's condo and that's when his heart will be broken and give up on Katsuki. 6 It's the perfect plan. 7 I took a sip from my red wine and smiled in satisfaction. 3 The devil in disguise. 67 Third-person POV Izuku laid on the duvet sheets cuddled on the side of a certain blonde man. For all he could remember from the night prior, in one word that is, bliss. 5 It had been his first time and certainly wouldn't have been his last. 1 The way Katsuki's split personalities were opposites, degrading the greenette nonetheless, sparked up a little flame in the SRBBY's tummy. 22 The way he was being overpowered was exciting and something new that Izuku had not yet discovered, but he knew one thing was for sure. When it came to these types of things in the bedroom it made him feel vulnerable but in a good way. 8 Todoroki's POV Izuku confused me. Sometimes he would be in class and the other times he isn't. 7. It made me wonder where he went, and this time he came into class 10 minutes late. Sitting beside me, he pulled his new laptop out of his backpack. 1. So, once he settled down, he already had a conversation starting, whispering it to me. There's a party on Thursday and I was wanting you to tag along with Kami and me. Izuku, that's a school night dash. I knew you were going to say that. I saw that Izuku was disappointed in what I said and even added a little huff into it. My father has high expectations of Meihei's the one who runs this school, and for him to find out that I went to a frat party. That's going to be hell. It's a one-time opportunity, Shoto. One-time opportunity. Really? There's probably frat parties happening every single day here. You get what I meant. As time passed by, the two of us were distant from the remaining of class. What has gotten into him? Usually, he talks to me like I was the only person in the room. Did I say something wrong? 9. Before he left, he pushed in his chair and looked back up at me. If you don't want to go, then that's fine, but dash, I'll go. I blurted out, and soon my heart seemed to beat a little bit faster. 17. Really? This made Izuku happy, and seeing him happy also made me happy. Because, like you said, one-time opportunity. Thanks, Shoto. You're the best. Remember, it's Thursday. I'll meet you at your dorm room, so don't be late. One more thing, how are we going to get there? I questioned because neither of us had an actual car. We walk, of course, silly. 5. Well, this should be fun then. Katsuki's POV, all I could think about was Izuku and the night prior. I couldn't get the brat out of my head. 21. Brat. Did I just call him that? What are you thinking about? Kami leaned against the doorframe that leads into my office. 26. As always, she wore revealing clothing with signature heels. Oh, that's right. Your little plaything. What's it to you? I wrote some things down on some documents that I need to show Kiri. Maybe it was time to buy an actual house. That would be nice, wouldn't it? 2. Just curious. I could tell that she shrugged. Huh? Yeah, well, don't you have work you need to do? I didn't make eye contact with her. I didn't want to. She has always done this, and honestly, it pissed me off. To be honest, if I didn't need her, I would have hired somebody else. 16. I was thinking. Maybe we should have a drink sometime, just the two of us. 20. Where? 'Cause if at my place, that's a big no. 2. But why not? Don't trust you. You don't trust me. What have I ever done to you? We've been working together for years now. I sighed. Fine, one drink. But it can't be tonight. I have to talk with Kirishima about these documents. 111. I set the papers to the side and looked at them, not noticing that Kami had even walked out of my office. I needed a change, and it had to happen soon. I can't keep living in the condo I do. I want an actual house, a mansion that overlooked the big city. I bet my princess would love that. 4. Soon visions swirled in my mind. The noises he made the other night, what I would do to hear them once again. 9. A low growl escaped my lips, something I didn't know I even did till now. 3. He was such AF brat, and that's what turned me on even more. Soon my phone buzzed, and it was Izuku. 16. Princess, seeing you tonight. 5. Kaken. Count on it. Maybe I could get what I wanted. 2. What I wanted was to ruin him once again, wrap my hand around his throat, listen to the RDC noises that escaped his cherry red lips. 7. I soon became sexually frustrated, and that's when my split personality took over. 23. That brat's going to get it tonight. I knew what was going on behind closed doors. I wasn't stupid. 11. I tapped my acrylic nail against my wine glass and thought about ways I could go through with my plan. 136. I wanted Katsuki for myself, not no one else's. And that worthless where doesn't deserve him. 59. All he wants is the money. 75. What better way to go through with this than to have that where hate him? 3. I smiled at the thought. All I have to do is get Katsuki to sleep with me, but how? 8. And how would I get his boy toy to walk in on us? Then it hit me, drag him. 170. Not to the point where Katsuki passes out, but to the point where he doesn't know what he is doing. Then I message, oh, what's his name? Izuku. I've only heard Katsuki speak his name out loud only twice in the workplace since he calls him on his off shifts. 5. I will message Izuku to come to Katsuki's condo, and that's when his heart will be broken and give up on Katsuki. 6. It's the perfect plan. 7. I took a sip from my red wine and smiled in satisfaction. 3. The devil in disguise 67th, third-person POV. Izuku laid on the duvet sheets cuddled on the side of a certain blonde man. For all he could remember from the night prior, in one word, that is, bliss. 5. It had been his first time and certainly wouldn't have been his last. 1. The way Katsuki's split personalities were opposites, degrading the 𝗓𝗏𝗏 nonetheless, sparked up a little flame in the 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗧𝗔 tummy. 22. The way he was being overpowered was exciting and something new that Izuku had not yet discovered, but he knew one thing was for sure. When it came to these types of things in the bedroom, it made him feel vulnerable, but in a good way. 3. 8. Todoroki's POV. Izuku confused me. Sometimes he would be in class and the other times he isn't. 7. It made me wonder where he went, and this time he came into class 10 minutes late. Sitting beside me, he pulled his new laptop out of his backpack. 1. So, once he settled down, he already had a conversation starting, whispering it to me. There's a party on Thursday and I was wanting you to tag along with Kami and me. Izuku, that's a school night dash. I knew you were going to say that. I saw that Izuku was disappointed in what I said and even added a little huff into it. My father has high expectations of Mayhei's, the one who runs the school, and for him to find out that I went to a frat party. That's going to be hell. It's a one-time opportunity, Shoto. One-time opportunity. Really? There's probably frat parties happening every single day here. You get what I meant. As time passed by, the two of us were distant from the remaining of class. What has gotten into him? Usually, he talks to me like I was the only person in the room. Did I say something wrong? 9. Before he left, he pushed in his chair and looked back up at me. If you don't want to go, then that's fine, but dash, I'll go. I blurted out, and soon my heart seemed to beat a little bit faster. 17. Really? This made Izuku happy, and seeing him happy also made me happy. Because, like you said, one-time opportunity. Thanks, Shoto. You're the best. Remember, it's Thursday. I'll meet you at your dorm room, so don't be late. One more thing, how are we going to get there? I questioned because neither of us had an actual car. We walk, of course, silly. 5. Well, this should be fun then. Katsuki's POV. All I could think about was Izuku and the night prior. I couldn't get the brat out of my head. 21. Brat. Did I just call him that? What are you thinking about? Kami leaned against the doorframe that leads into my office. 26. As always, she wore revealing clothing with signature heels. Oh, that's right. Your little plaything. What's it to you? I wrote some things down on some documents that I need to show Kiri. Maybe it was time to buy an actual house. That would be nice, wouldn't it? 2. Just curious. I could tell that she shrugged. Huh? Yeah, well, don't you have work you need to do? I didn't make eye contact with her. I didn't want to. She has always done this, and honestly, it pissed me off. To be honest, if I didn't need her, I would have hired somebody else. 16. I was thinking, maybe we should have a drink sometime, just the two of us. 20. Where? 'Cause if at my place, that's a big no. 2. But why not? Don't trust you. You don't trust me. What have I ever done to you? We've been working together for years now. I sighed. Fine, one drink. But it can't be tonight. I have to talk with Kirishima about these documents. 111. I set the papers to the side and looked at them, not noticing that Kami had even walked out of my office. I needed a change, and it had to happen soon. I can't keep living in the condo I do. I want an actual house, a mansion that overlooked the big city. I bet my princess would love that. 4. Soon visions swirled in my mind. The noises he made the other night, what I would do to hear them once again. 9. A low growl escaped my lips, something I didn't know I even did till now. 3. He was such AF brat, and that's what turned me on even more. Soon my phone buzzed and it was Izuku. 16. Princess, seeing you tonight. 5. Kaken. Count on it. Maybe I could get what I wanted. 2. What I wanted was to ruin him once again, wrap my hand around his throat, listen to the RDC noises that escaped his cherry red lips. 7. I soon became sexually frustrated, and that's when my split personality took over. 23. That brat's going to get it tonight.